Hey, welcome to the Extra Point Show. I'm Nick Fain.
And I'm David Johnson.
The NFL season is officially underway for the second week, which I'm sure we're all pumped about. But there's a lot of big news to get into, especially a lot of injuries, which is unfortunate to always hear. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about our biggest surprise so far with a couple of teams. One that's done very well and one that hasn't done so well. If you want to start with the team that.
Yeah, so I would say, obviously, anytime that there's a new season upon us, there's teams that are definitely going to exceed expectations and teams that are certainly going to fall short. And the team that I've definitely been most surprised with, especially because of the quality of opponent that they've beaten, has been the Las Vegas Raiders. And I did say Las Vegas that time.
I'll give you credit on that because I know you always want to say
was,
Oakland, and I'm the same way.
I was worried I was going to mess it up, but I didn't. So yeah, and I mean, obviously, getting a Week 1 victory over the Ravens and then picking up a Week 2 victory over the Steelers, both of those are very good teams. Both of those were expected to be playoff teams, and they looked definitely good against each one of those teams. Derek Carr's looked really great in both starts.
Yeah, Derek Carr did look good. I have to say, I watched that game, and yeah, he did look good.
He's a super efficient quarterback. He's been underrated for a long time. And that last game that they won without Josh Jacobs, their top running back. So they're winning without him. So yeah, I mean, Oakland's a surprise team. I mean, obviously they haven't started playing.
You said Oakland. You said Oakland.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it happens. It's like every now and then you still hear the announcers call Washington the Redskins, and
the Reds. I love that, and all the Redskins fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the Washington thing too, but yeah, we all love that shit.
Yeah. But I did, and but yeah, so they haven't started playing AFC West games yet. So it's going to be interesting to see because right now it's kind of a surprise. The two teams that are 2-0 are the Raiders and the Broncos. Both of those teams at 2-0, whereas the Chiefs are 1-1 and the Chargers are 1-1. So kind of a surprise there. Figured the Chiefs would have definitely been 2-0 at this point, but they.
Wait, so are the Ravens? They're 1-1, right?
Oh, they are 1-1 because they beat.
I just realized that right now. I was gonna say like the Ravens were my surprise, but they beat the Chiefs.
They did beat the Chiefs, yeah.
They beat the Chiefs by 1 point. I don't know how I forgot that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was gonna be my go-to with like, because like they, like Lamar threw a bunch of like picks and like he wasn't looking great.
Yeah, he was having a rough game, but he
pulled it out. Man, that's crazy. How do I not know that? Maybe I didn't watch the end of that game or something because. Well, yeah, I was gonna say my surprise was that the Ravens weren't doing that well, but I guess after re-looking at the score here, I'm not sure if that quite fits. But yeah, I mean, I have another one I can fall back on. The Eagles. I hate to say it. I hate to say anything good about them, but you know what? They look significantly better than I expected.
I would say.
And that was
I watched
heavy
every snap of that game, and that was a physical game.
But and thank God the Niners came out on top.
But, I mean, we took the physicality east, and we definitely got that W. I mean, it was so luckily like what Kyle did in that game. Just not to get too off topic, but he kept the Niners in Virginia for that couple weeks, so they were practicing in the humidity, and like they were better conditioned than the Eagles in that, and ultimately we just won that.
Yeah,
it was a dogfight, that game, a defensive
battle. That game made me nervous, man. Yeah. I mean, like, and even the secondary, I know it's one team, but even the Cowboys, and I hate that another NFC. I'm just nervous about it because it's the teams I pay the most attention to. But they both looked way better than expected, and it's just like, damn.
Yeah, they played Tampa pretty decently in Week 1, and then obviously getting the week.
Yeah, Ryan Suckup only won. Ryan Suckup won the game and with a field goal at the last second. So that's way closer than I ever want to see a division rival come to beating a team like Tampa Bay. Like, so it could be the Eagles or the Cowboys, really.
I'm trying to remember who has to play. I think the Rams get Tom Brady next, so hopefully Tom can knock them down to 2-1 for us. So that'll be beneficial. Yeah. That NFC West is a tough division, but yeah, there's been a lot of surprises. lot of surprises so far, and we're only 2 games in, but we'll have to see what happens now. Obviously, with that, each game that you play and each snap that you take in the NFL is always a risk for injury, and there were certainly some big ones through the first 2 weeks of the season to several key players.
Yeah.
Most namely for us, and we'll get more into these in a little bit here, but for the Niners, week 1, after just 2 carries, and he was off to a great start. 2 carries for 20 yards. Raheem Mostert, he was killing it. 2 carries for 20 yards. He took a toss right, he took a toss left, and then he played like 2 more snaps where he was just in blocking, and he had a piece of cartilage chipped out of his knee, and now he's going to miss the rest of the season with season-ending knee injury. Season-ending knee surgery. That's pretty rough. Yeah,
that's terrible. That's just to know right off the bat, season-ending. Like it's when someone gets injured, you always hope like it's not going to be, hopefully as short as possible and then get back. But yeah, that sucks, man. Raheem the Dream.
Yeah. It's not going to be happening with him at that running back this season. But and then on the other side of the ball, we had Jason Verrett, our top corner, go down in that same game in the second half. He tore his ACL, and he's had ACL issues before, so he's out for the year as well. And of course, this is compounded with the fact that we haven't had Emmanuel Mosley for the first 2 weeks of the season because he's recovering from a knee injury. So it's really going to put the pressure on Diamador Lenore. So that'll be tough.
Diamador.
But yeah, those are
in Washington news, since it is a big injury. I mean, obviously, I'm I guess not happy to report on it, but so Fitzpatrick got hurt with a hip injury and is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. And I have seen that apparently what happened was he hurt himself on a water slide. Probably out with his his large family, having a good time.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to hate him for like having a good time with his family, but it's like, man, if you're gonna be like the starting quarterback of an NFL team, like maybe take it easy and don't do. Did you see the video of the water slide? It's like it's a straight like loop and like shoot off and it's like, bro, come on, like maybe
launching out into orbit.
Maybe don't do that, like. But although what's the? Oh no, I'll get into it more later. I don't want to get too much into it. I'm about to go and get it.
Is he insured for that? I hope he is. Oh my God.
But yeah, so hopefully, well, it depends how Heineke does. If Heineke does well, which I'm going to get into that more later, obviously. But yeah. So I'm not that upset about the whole Fitzpatrick injury if Heineke does well. But onto others.
Yeah. We've got a lot of other injuries that happen too. Week 1, talking about some more week 1 injuries. The Lions, actually, in the game that we were watching where they were playing the 49ers, they lost their top corner, Jeff Okudah, in the third quarter. Actually, the series before we lost Verrett, they lost their top corner, and then we lost ours on the following series. So, really rough situation for both teams. And then on top of that, the Lions lost their second corner, a rookie that they had out there last night against the Packers, and he's apparently got a serious injury as well. So, not a great start for Dan Campbell. They're already 0-2 and without his top 2 corners.
Unfortunate. Motor City Dan Campbell, man.
It's definitely a rough start, but the NFL's definitely a cold hard bitch. It's not gonna catch any favors, and I don't think he'd want it to. I mean that man's a hardened badass. I don't think he'd want any easy breaks. Also, the T.J. Watt, the Pittsburgh Steelers pass rusher, is out with a groin injury. They're saying he might play. He might be able to play week 3, but he did leave the game against the Raiders, and didn't return.
I definitely won't be sad to see if he doesn't play in week 3.
Yeah, he's real good. Any of those Watt pass rushers are you never look forward to facing him. I am certainly not excited that the Cardinals picked up J.J. Watt, and we have to face him twice a year.
Right.
On top of Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones himself got 6 sacks week 1 against Ryan Tannehill. Because that's who they beat. They beat the Titans. 6 sacks by himself. By himself.
He might get the sack record this year with just that head start.
He might.
Good
But
God,
I
6 in a
don't. Yeah,
game?
yeah, I know, and that's insane.
Wow.
That's insane. So it's like, but I will say this, and I'll get more into this. Well, no, I'm just gonna save it for later. I'm just gonna save it.
We got
But
we always got to be
yeah,
like, well, we'll wait.
we have no
We always
control.
want to.
Yeah. But yeah, we also lost, but the Niners running back situation's pretty dismal right now. They also lost in week two's game against the Eagles. They lost Trey Sermon, who came in there for his first carry, busted off like an 8-yard run, got a first down, and then I don't know if you saw this, but his head hits the turf. He gets tackled hard, his head hits the turf, and now he's in the concussion protocol, so he's out. Also, Elijah Mitchell, who's been our top running back, filling in for Raheem. He had a 104-yard debut against the Lions, and then he had the best game of any of our running backs week two. He's out with a shoulder injury. He might miss a couple weeks. And then Jermichael Hasty has the most severe injury, where he's expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. And obviously, Niners fans know all about high ankle sprains from last year.
Yeah, that's never good.
Yeah. And on top of that,
also,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
go
off.
ahead.
Well, speaking of bad running back situations, the Ravens and their whole situation. I mean, that was part. I mean, it started in the preseason, but haven't they had another running back get hurt? Or I feel like
it's been J.K. Dobbins. It's been Gus. What is it? Gus Edwards, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. But
I just feel like they had a couple of them go down.
yeah,
like
they've had at least 3 go down. And we ended up picking up Trenton Cannon off their practice squad, and he played a little bit in Sunday's game. So,
what's his name? Trenton Cannon?
Trenton Cannon, yeah.
That's a sweet name.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool name. But yeah, I mean, the Ravens have been hit hard at running back. Luckily, I mean, Lamar gives you a lot of that running back right there.
Yeah.
And, they have Tyson Williams, I think who's the guy. Tyson Williams is their rookie. He's been getting the majority.
I mean, no one can blame you at all for not knowing, considering given the situation there. It's like,
I'm pretty sure that's what his name is.
You're probably right, but yeah, it's like it's so fresh. Like,
yeah, he's played like 2 games in the NFL, so it's not. He's by far not a household name right now.
Yeah.
And obviously the week 2 especially, one position in particular was hit very hard, and that was the quarterback position for 3 teams in particular.
Yeah.
And probably the first one that I saw of the day was definitely Tua Tagovailoa going down. He took a shot to the ribs in the first quarter on the first drive, and it is Tyson Williams, by the way. Not to get off topic, but I was just looking that up.
Oh.
But he took a shot to the ribs and did not return. Jacoby Brissett came in and proceeded to do nothing.
Sucked.
Yeah, with the offense. And the Dolphins proceeded to lay an egg and get beat 35-0 in a divisional game.
God, that's always rough.
Yeah, losing to usually division games are tight, and when they just
even if it was like 35-3, at least you got 3 points.
At least you got to get on the board. At least you got to get on the board. When I was back in high school, like on a bad freshman team, like there were a few games where we definitely, when we got down there, they called upon me when we were doing nothing on offense, and they called upon me just to get us on the board, just to get something out there, And when you got a bad offense, that's sometimes what you do. But yeah, it was a rough day out there in Miami, and they looked good week 1. They beat the Patriots 17-16, so tight defensive game. But we'll have to see if Tua will be ready to play. That wasn't the only injury. Also, Tyrod Taylor went down. He's expected to miss a couple weeks, and he was playing great before he went down.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for them because that's one of the guys that I thought Washington maybe would have looked into. I didn't, I had nothing to base that off of. It just seemed like given our limited options, it seemed like he could have been an option. And that's the way he looked. It was like, man. But I'm team Heineke right now. But yeah.
No, I mean,
he looked very good.
You got to be happy with the guy you have out there. I mean, you can't really change it now. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, Tyrod Taylor did look good. But you feel bad for a guy like Tyrod. I mean, he gets injured. He injures his hamstring after 2 starts. He's looking good.
Yeah.
Last year, he was looking good for the Chargers, and the team doctor punctures his lung, giving him an injection.
Oh
And
man.
then like Justin Herbert takes over week 2, and he never gives up that job. So it's like you feel for a guy like Tyrod. It's like, oh man, it's rough. But
Yeah.
I mean,
He's had a
hopefully
rough
he'll be
go.
back because he's been playing well. And the interesting thing about that is David Culley, the Texans coach, has said, despite um, Taylor being injured, he we won't see Deshaun Watson activated. So Deshaun's still refusing to play for the Texans, and that means that on Thursday night when the Texans play the Panthers, it's going to be Davis Mills, the rookie, out there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we're going to see what the rookie 3rd round pick.
That's gonna be.
And he's got to play
funny
a 2-0 Panthers team. The Panthers have looked good. They could easily
Yeah.
be mentioned as a surprise team as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Looking at 2-0
Mhm.
under Matt Rule's direction in year 2. So yeah, and then the third injury being obviously, I don't know if you want to mention this one, if you know.
Is it Baker?
Yeah, he was injured as well. That's not the one I was thinking of, but Baker was injured in that.
I thought you had a funny joke to go with that. I
No,
couldn't remember what it was, or I
no,
was.
no, I actually didn't. But no,
Oh,
Baker
okay.
Baker got injured and his shoulder popped out of the socket and he left at the end of a drive, but he didn't end up missing a play. He went to the locker room. I think they popped it back in, and he was back out there to finish the game, which
Damn,
kind
what
of
a
makes you
beast.
admire Baker even more. I mean, he's
Yeah,
a little
jeez.
badass, and got Cleveland the W there after a week 1 loss to.
Oh, I think I know. Were you talking
Kansas
about
City.
Andy Dalton?
Yes, I was talking about Andrew Dalton, the Red Rocket himself from Texas Tech University, Andrew Dalton. I was.
Hurt
So
by his former team. Oof.
yeah,
Ouch.
yeah, he was. He was injured by his former team. He injured his knee against his former team, and he would not return. Now, the unfortunate thing is that despite week 1, when Andy was definitely outplayed by Justin Fields, in this
Mhm.
game, Andy was having a great game. He was 9 out of 11. He threw a touchdown. He had Chicago in good position.
Yeah.
Fields came in and didn't look so good. He definitely
He's a
struggled a
rookie.
little
I
bit.
mean, you
Yeah,
expect that.
exactly. And he's playing, a professional defense in the Bengals, and he was 6 out of 13 for 60 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick. Um, he didn't have as much success running the ball. He had 10 carries for 31 yards, which isn't bad, but it's not great. Chicago did hold on to pick up a 20-17 win. So I guess in getting injured, Andy did pick up the win over his former
The
team.
Bears.
Yeah.
I've always hated that. I don't even know why I said that.
The old Saturday Night Live skit, or is it Mad TV? It's Saturday Night Live.
No, all Bears fans say that shit.
Oh, okay. Well, it was
I
on. It
thought
was
so.
on something. Yeah. Well,
I'm
it's on a
pretty
skit.
sure.
It's on a skit. You gotta. I'll show it to you.
I'm sure it is. I have to watch that, but the Bears. I think that's like their thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure. I knew a guy that owned a restaurant. They were said
probably
that
is.
shit.
Wow, and we haven't even mentioned all the injuries. There's still one more.
There's, I
Quarterbacks
think,
took
isn't
a
there?
beating.
Oh, yeah. Well, the last one
isn't
isn't that surprising given who it is. It's like everybody take a guess. Like who? I mean, I guess it's not that obvious, but Carson Wentz gets injured all the time.
Carson Wentz.
I mean,
Why?
like, look
Because he
at the
came into the season
preseason.
injured, or oh, okay, yeah.
I guess, but he's been hurt other times too in past years. Like,
He doesn't miss a lot of games. I mean, so the most notable time is when he got injured, and then Nick Foles came in when they went to the Super Bowl in 2018, and Nick Foles led him to the Super Bowl and was Super Bowl MVP.
I think that's probably why I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, he was.
So it happened at a really bad moment. Yeah, really
Okay.
pivotal moment. But he usually plays through shit. But basically, what happened to this poor bastard? And
2 sprained ankles.
yeah,
How
2
the
sprained
fuck does
ankles
that
on the
even
same play.
happen?
Dude, I saw the tackle. Aaron Donald basically, like, the way he tackled him, it looked like his weight came down on his ankles, like basically like his ankle came down like that. Like both ankles came down like that. And Aaron Donald came down on him on his back, like.
Speaking of Aaron Donald jumping on people, imagine if that happened to Alex Smith.
Yeah.
When Aaron Donald jumped on his back.
I hope Alex is enjoying some beach somewhere with his wife and children.
I'm sure he is. I'm
Good,
sure he is.
good. He
Good
deserves
for
to.
him.
Yeah. And anyway, yeah. So Jacob Eason came in and finished the game. He's being evaluated to see if he'll play week 3, but I don't see how he will. I mean, with 2 sprained ankles, I mean, it would take a.
Yeah, that's like.
If Carson Wentz is out there, I have newfound respect. That is like Brett Favre level toughness.
No,
playing
that's
for
like
what-
no, I don't think so. I think that's like almost like foolish and stupidly level at that point. Like
Yeah.
there's like a difference between tough and just like egregiously stupid, you
He's
know,
trying.
like or like Carson Wentz is like he's old, man. Like it's like if he was a rookie quarterback, like like RG3, I want to go in and play. My fucking knee hurts like fuck, but I'm gonna play.
He's
Carson
not even.
Wentz
He's
is
not
like,
even 30 yet.
yeah, but he's not like he's been in the league for a while. It feels like he's been in the league for a long time, doesn't it? It feels like it's been for a while, 8 years, something like that. Like
No,
that was a shot in the dark. I'm not really sure.
it's been like 4, dude.
Has it been 4? Jesus
Maybe-
Christ!
actually,
I wasn't watching football that much back then. I'll be honest.
Actually, probably 5. Yeah. So
I thought it was at least 6 years, but I don't know.
know. Let me verify for you real quick.
I'm like trying to help my case here. I'm like, it's gotta be.
I know,
It's
you're
not
like,
8. It's not 8 because that was 2012.
He's
so you're right.
definitely more
It's gotta
fragile.
It's got to be at least 2014, maybe 2015. That'd be 8 years. That was stupid. That was a bad guess.
That's all good, man.
I wasn't watching football back then in 2015, 16. Those years I wasn't watching football.
Okay, so Carson Wentz is 28, and he has 6 years of experience.
All right, that sounds all right. Cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
That's like 8. I was being a little generous, but I knew he'd been in the league a while. 6 years is a long time.
He's been around.
Like a name you've heard for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see if he plays. If he doesn't play, it's going to be Jacob Eason getting the start for
I would assume that he's not going
Indianapolis.
to play. I mean, if the
assume
Eagles
so,
were
too.
smart, they would rest him. A sprained ankle takes
I would think
a while to heal. I mean,
Yeah, and it's a rough situation because the Colts are 0-2, and they've got a big division game coming up.
Did I say
against
the
Tennessee.
Eagles? I said the Eagles, didn't I?
Yeah, well, he used to play for the Eagles, but
I know.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
So talking about all these quarterback injuries led us to an interesting situation, and one quarterback that's available in particular, and that is Cam Newton, former number 1 overall pick. Cam Newton, former Super Bowl starting Cam Newton, and having been released from the Patriots in the preseason, makes you wonder if any of these teams will make the call for Cam. And interestingly enough, Cam recently said when he was interviewed that there weren't 32 quarterbacks in the NFL that were better than him. So that kind of got us thinking to a game, and it's called Cam or the Field, and basically the concept of this game is if you were an NFL general manager and you had the option to go with your existing quarterback or Cam Newton, who would you move forward with? So
let me go ahead and start us off with the first one because it's an obvious one, and I'm going to let you take that one.
All right. So so first one that I can think of is Cam or Matthew Stafford. Now Matthew Stafford has been playing lights out for the Rams. Sorry to say, unfortunately enough, and they are 2-0. They've been looking good. He's actually gotten more offensive help than he's had probably his whole time in Detroit. I mean, Matt Stafford is a former number 1 overall pick as well back in 2009, as is Cam. So obviously, Cam has an advantage of mobility, but Matthew Stafford, I think overall has a higher upside. So I'd go Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a fairly obvious choice. I mean, Cam has that mobility aspect, but he's just not the same player he used to be. And Stafford's a good quarterback. I mean, with the price
Stafford
that
is a good quarterback.
they paid for him, I mean,
he's living up to it so far. I mean, he's got him 2-0.
Yeah, he is. So
the toughest division in football, so arguably, but yeah.
All right. So the next one, which is a little personal for me, Cam or Daniel Jones. So I hate to admit it, but I think I would take Daniel Jones because I mean, I know he fumbles a lot and he's
Danny Dimes.
But yeah, like knowing that Washington like could have had him and like
Yeah.
it's like, oh man. Ugh. And also, I think he's better than Cam. He's pretty fresh in the NFL, but he
And
does
he
get
might
he gets
actually
it
be
done.
as mobile or more mobile than Cam.
Exactly,
He's
exactly.
very fast. He's
Yeah.
underratedly fast.
So
He's on
given
par
that,
with like
Daniel Jones
like
is
a Mahomes, I would say.
yeah. It's like that's an obvious choice. Like Daniel Jones, he has all those aspects. Even though he might he fumbles apparently, but every time he plays Washington, he never does. So he's
He
like
does
some
fumble a
Umar
lot.
here.
He's in the last 2 years he led the like he had 18 fumbles one year and 11 the other.
Mhm.
But
I know he does.
he does fumble a lot, but he's got a lot of upside too. I mean, if you can correct that one behavior, I mean he's an accurate quarterback and he's younger than Cam. So
Yeah.
all right, and the next one would be Baker or Cam. So all right, let's see here.
I feel like some not to like interrupt. I feel like some of these though like aren't even worth mentioning. Like for example, we have like Cam and Tom Brady on the list. Like I
Yeah,
don't know. Like
yeah, that's true. That's true. Obviously, yeah,
like
that's
maybe we should like go through and like pick some of the ones that might actually be like considerations because to go through all through 32 quarterbacks like there's so many that are obvious no's. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's fair enough. We can do that.
Because like Baker even like obviously you're gonna pick Baker over Cam.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably where I was gonna go with that. I think I would. I mean, especially like Baker's got new established toughness coming back from his separated shoulder, and
Yeah, that was crazy. I
he
think he dislocated his shoulder and goes back in. Like, damn, what a beast.
yeah, and he did really good things getting the Browns to the AFC Championship last year. So definitely, I'd go with Baker, and obviously this is Cam at his current age too in this situation. So
Yeah, if it was 2015 Cam, this would be like a totally
yeah,
different discussion.
Super Bowl like champion or not Super Bowl
Yeah,
champion, but
but
Super Bowl or
yeah.
league MVP is what he won that year. But yeah,
So yeah, that Cam, but that's just not the case now.
that
So
was
given that, it's like the
15 and
next
1
couple of
Carolina
quarterbacks,
Panthers Cam.
man, that's a crazy record, 15-1. But like the next couple of quarterbacks, like Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar, Dak Prescott, you're not going to take Cam over any of those. Like there's just.
I mean, so okay, so Cam over Jared Goff. I would take Cam over Jared Goff.
You would take Cam
I
over
would.
Jared Goff?
Absolutely, I would. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. No. So okay. So here's the thing. Cam really
What?
hasn't like. I'm not sold after one season that he can't throw the football anymore. First of all, that was like one
Okay.
season
Okay.
when he was coming back
That's
from an
fair.
injury anyway. So and I mean the run game was still there. Last year he had 8 rushing touchdowns for the Patriots. He led the Patriots in rushing. So I mean he's definitely still a weapon. Now he's
But he's
not
got
as
to throw the
fast.
ball, man. Like.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But I mean I don't know. I just basically if you watched the game last night, Jared Goff.
I did watch the game. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying,
Yeah.
man. Like I would take
Yeah.
him, and he looked
Well,
good. Like
he did look good
what
until
are you
it
talking
came down to the
about?
situation where they needed points and then they couldn't get over 17 points because Goff fumbled and then he threw a pick and he was the
Yeah,
same old
yeah.
Jared Goff that has
That you love.
yeah that I've loved for years to get that we were like 4
I choose
5
you,
now.
Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Goff.
So I would take him over Jared Goff. Yes, I would.
All right. Well, okay. All right. That of those 4, yeah. Okay, I can. That's like an argument to be made. So I would accept
All right.
that.
Well, what about this? What about Cam or Andy Dalton?
Cam or Andy
Because
Dalton.
we're pretending. We're not looking at Justin Fields being an
Hmm.
option here. We're Cam
Hmm.
versus your starter and Andy Dalton. Matt Nagy has said
Andy Dalton is kind of like a career backup in a way. So,
Andy
but
Dalton.
Cam,
Andy Dalton's been 1 season as a backup. He was the starter like his whole career in Cincinnati.
I know he just feels like he is.
Yeah,
like,
because
I
he's
know
played
he's
in
not.
Cincinnati. It feels like you don't have a real career. Fucking wasted away in nasty natty. But he was the starter.
Oh, I'm dying.
Yeah, and he actually led the Bengals to some of the best seasons they've had. Actually, here's the thing: the Bengals, like at one point under Marvin Lewis, made the playoffs like 4 straight seasons, and they couldn't get past the first round. 0-1, 0-1, 0 always losing in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So they were always a playoff team. They just always getting their ass kicked. But
all right, so these next 2 are more personal to us. So I'm going to take the first one here.
All right.
Cam or you know what? I'm gonna make this Cam or Ryan or Cam or Taylor Heineke because now Heineke is actually the starter now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Fitz is out. But I'll start with Fitz. So Cam or Fitz. I mean, I'm gonna to be honest with you, I'm gonna pick Fitz or Heineke over Cam on both of these. So yeah, I guess I don't really need to say much more. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I like Fitz and I like his play, the way he plays, and he did have some ability. And Heineke is almost like almost like Cam in a way, but you know, if Cam knew how to throw still, like somewhat. I mean, I'm not saying Heineke is great, but like you know, from how Cam was doing, and he got cut by Bill Belichick, it's like that's got to say something. So, on either way, I would still go with either one of them over Cam.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting if Cam gets signed. I think that he will be able to throw the ball fine. I mean, and obviously somebody's going to pick him up at this point with the number of. I'm kind of surprised nobody has yet, to be
Yeah, with
honest.
all the injuries,
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it is a bit surprising.
It's coming soon.
I think it
If
might
he's
be
not on
more
a
than just
roster
his
by
playing, though. I don't think just his playing ability. I think it's there's other aspects playing into it.
maybe. I
It's
mean,
not just
he's
that.
got a loud personality. He is out there, but I mean, he's. I mean, here's the thing. He navigated like 7 or 8 seasons under Ron, who's like super hard disciplined. So he can't be that bad. And then he went from
Yeah,
Ron to Bill Belichick for 2 seasons. So like really, like you can't tell me he's like a discipline issue. Like he played for two of the most hard-nosed coaches in the NFL that are like no bullshit. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't think Cam's an issue. And like I've always thought he's a good team player. I mean, even in I don't know. Maybe it's the flashy clothes. Maybe nobody likes that. Who knows? But
All right, so
anyway,
what about Cam or Jimmy?
definitely Jimmy.
Of
I mean,
course.
Jimmy's now with the most recent game. He's 25-8.
Let me ask you this: Cam or Trey Lance? I know you're gonna say Trey Lance, just like me. Just
Oh,
well,
of
I'm gonna,
course, yeah. I'd have to take
you
Trey
know, it's
Lance.
like, of
Trey
course.
Lance is
So like,
basically like Cam like 10 years ago. Like
exactly, yeah, he's like
yeah,
Future
yeah.
Cam, you
He's
know,
like
like
baby Cam.
Cam 2.0, and baby Cam. Yeah, there you
he's
go.
like you put Cam in the DeLorean and then you send him back in time, and then like that's Trey Lance. But yeah,
Hopefully even better.
so Trey Lance. But yeah, I mean, I'd have to take Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy when he's on, the man is he
Yeah, he
throws
is.
we mentioned it on
He
almost a
a,
weekly
a
basis.
pretty football.
He does it. The spiral's tight. He's got good delivery. Sometimes he delivers the ball a little high, but I mean, you can't find me a quarterback in the NFL that doesn't sometimes deliver the NFL a
And
little high.
honestly, throwing the ball a little high is the
I'd
better
rather have it
option.
high than low.
Exactly.
I'd rather
Exactly.
have it high than low.
Heineke was throwing some high balls. And it's like, you know what? I don't. That's fucking fine, man.
I
You
mean,
know, we
okay,
got Terry, and yeah, I'm not gonna get into all that,
yeah.
but yeah. All right.
The
So
one yeah, the one thing I will say about that
oh,
before we move on is the one thing I'm not okay with throwing the ball high on is if you get your receiver laid out and they get cracked. Like if they're going up to make a ball like a play on a ball that they can't catch that's out of bounds, that's fine.
yeah,
But if you're throwing it across the middle and like you're throwing it up
and
to
they can get
Terry
behind you, and a safety is
and
back
they lay
there or
out your
something.
receiver, yeah, then that's not cool.
Right.
You
Okay.
gotta put that ball on the numbers. But anyway, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So the next one is another one somewhat personal to me. Cam or Jalen Hurts, Eagles
Jalen.
quarterback, and you know I think before seeing them play this, you know, since the seasons began, I might have gone with Cam, but I think Jalen Hurts might actually not be bad. I mean,
Kid
which
looks
I hate.
good. Kid looks good against our
So, and
defense.
given that he's young and he's like, you know, Campbell, I would pick Jalen Hurts over him just because he's young and you know he's got a he
He's
has a
fast. He
ceiling that I guess
reminds me
he
of
might
like
not know yet.
he reminds me of a little like Kyler Murray kind of. He's got a little Kyler
Yeah,
Murray to
yeah,
his
I
game.
can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bigger than Kyler, but he's got a little Kyler Murray to his game.
Yeah. So let's run through some of these other ones here that are obvious, like knows, like Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Derek Carr.
Yeah.
That could. I think that's insulting to even say that's an argument because I picked Derek Carr.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and that's what we were talking about. Derek Carr, in my opinion, may be the most underrated player in the entire NFL. Like, and I know that's a bold statement, but like the man. So here's the thing about Derek Carr. Derek Carr has done something nobody. John Gruden's been coaching in the NFL a long time. One stint with Oakland for a while where he had Rich Gannon, who was pretty good. He had a stint in Tampa where he won the Buccaneers' first Super Bowl, where he was running with Brad Johnson a lot, and then he had Jeff Garcia, the former Niner. Brian Green. He had a bunch of different quarterbacks. Basically, what Derek Carr has done is Derek
Brad
Carr has
Johnson,
been
was he a Redskins quarterback?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Okay, that's why I heard the name and I was like, I know
Brad
that
Johnson
one.
also played for the Minnesota Vikings, but
Right. I did know that too, actually.
he's a journeyman. But yeah, so what was I saying?
Oh no.
It's okay. It'll But no, so yeah, so
Something about Derek Carr and the Raiders.
Derek Carr has done something no other quarterback has done under John Gruden. He's lasted 5 seasons, which is longer than any other. John Gruden likes Derek Carr, and John Gruden notoriously gets like tired of quarterbacks, like like their old girlfriends or something like he like moves on from them like all quick. So it's amazing to see, that they have a continuity. Like Derek Carr has actually said that they almost like share the same brain, which is really weird considering how different they are. Derek Carr being super Christian and John Gruden being the most intense human on earth.
All right. So looking at thinking of the rest of the QBs in the league here, which of the ones remaining would even be a worthy conversation that you might?
All right, so yeah, okay, so I would take Cam over Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, that's for different reasons than playability.
No,
because I would feel the same way, but
I so partially, but like more just the fact that obviously like Ben has to be about the least mobile quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
one of them. Yeah. So I mean, Cam's obviously better than that. Ben's had a myriad of different injuries over the years to his shoulder and elbow and various different things. I don't know. Like they've played well. He's played well, but I don't know. Like Cam's going to come back for somebody this season, and you're going to see that he can throw the football.
I hope to God it's not the Steelers, though. Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't hate Cam at all. I'd like to see him do well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think the Steelers.
Unless he goes to like the Steelers and the Cowboys, or like an NFC East team. Unless he sucks, then I'm gonna want him to suck.
I don't think he's going to go
like an AFC team. I don't think he's going to go anywhere
I don't think he's going to go anywhere that doesn't have an injury. I mean, I think that the places he'd be most likely to go
would definitely be
like Indianapolis. Injury. I'm surprised that honestly with Jacob Eason, I'm surprised the Colts haven't jumped on him. Not knowing how long Wentz
or Tua getting hurt,
or the Dolphins, yeah. But they have Jacoby Brissett, who he can be pretty good. He just didn't do much for the offense, but they were already, Well, actually, Tua got hurt on the first drive, so it's hard to say they were already doing bad when Tua left. But he was in there all of 35 plays. But yeah, anyway, so I'd say him over Roethlisberger just based off of durability, and I think Cam's obviously faster. He's a little bit younger, so I would take him. Another one that could be on the brink, Cam or Teddy Bridgewater. I
was looking at that one too. I was like, I feel like that one could be an argument there.
Yeah. Obviously Teddy basically had his knee reconstructed, completely from scratch when he was with the Vikings, but he came back and he's been a backup with the Saints the last couple of years, and recently the Broncos signed him and he won the quarterback competition over Drew Lock, and I mean he's got the Broncos at 2-0 right now, so they've been looking good.
Yeah. So I would still pick Teddy over Cam.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Teddy.
It was a little more of an interesting, there was like an argument, but yeah, I would definitely still pick Teddy.
Yeah,
and of all of the rookies, I would pick all of the rookies over Teddy. Or I'm sorry, over Cam.
Okay.
Like Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence. Even Trey Lance, Justin Fields. Just that future potential. It's like what Cam is. Cam's not the same as he was. Like I'd rather take the risk and take something new that might be really good than going with that.
Is that including the Zach Wilson off the 4-pick game?
Yes, that includes. I forgot about the 4 picks, but yeah,
I think he'll be fine. There's a lot of. Peyton Manning threw 4 picks in the game numerous times.
Yeah.
So
I stand by my statement. All of the rookie quarterbacks I would pick over Cam.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've all looked good, honestly, through.
I'd pick Sam Darnold over Cam, probably.
Yeah. No, Sam Darnold's playing the best football of his career.
Yeah, and that's great. I love hearing that
And
because he deserves
I
it.
mean, you'll probably remember me saying this for a long time, but I've been saying it for years that I thought Sam Darnold could play. He was you know
Yeah,
he was cursed with Adam Gase as his play caller, and obviously Adam Gase isn't in the NFL anymore, and
all
it's
Gates,
for a
no
reason.
breaks.
Yeah, exactly, and have that work out. But yeah, the all the rookie quarterbacks have definitely exceeded expectations, and I think that they'll all be pretty good. I think the only other quarterback that I'd probably take Cam over is probably Tua, and that's just because Tua
Yeah,
is an unknown. Tua
right.
got benched twice last year for Fitzpatrick, so you basically say to the kid that he's your starter, then you pull him, then
Hmm.
the next week you're like, hey kid, you're the starter, and then you pull him for Fitzpatrick, and then again he's the starter, and then
Yeah,
this year in the second start of his season where he's for sure the starter this year, it's his team, because last year it started out being Fitz, and then
right.
he ended up taking over. But and then he injures his ribs. So yeah, I mean, and there's like obviously he came in with the whole hip injury out of college, which was like a super severe injury, and that was a concern. And then so there's durability concerns, and obviously just wondering if he's even just what his ceiling really is, I guess, and we just haven't really seen much out of him so far.
Yeah.
So I would definitely take Cam over two as well.
All right. So yeah, I guess that's it for
Yeah,
Cam or
Cam
Cam
versus
Cam or not Cam or Cam.
yeah,
What was it? Cam versus the
Cam
field.
versus the field. Yeah,
Cam versus the field. That's
yeah.
it.
This is the first thing we tried. Yeah, it's a trial and error. So we'll see how that works out. And speaking of trial and error, I'm wondering what's going on with Jameis Winston, who comes out after after throwing 5 touchdowns in week one to just like absolutely shock the Packers 38-3. And then he comes out and they get beat 26-7 by the
You know what
Panthers
it
in
is?
week two.
He's living up to that 30 for 30 record. He has one game where it's badass, and then one game where he just fucking sucks.
Yeah, maybe he felt like he had to throw 5 picks against the Panthers there to make up for his 5 touchdown game. But yeah, I mean, you almost wonder like it was a big story in the offseason about how he went and got LASIK eye surgery, and you almost
Yeah.
wonder if maybe he just needs to go and get a checkup on that shit, because
Oh, they might have fucked it up, man.
yeah, sometimes you go to a bad doctor, maybe you need to see that doctor for malpractice because
Maybe.
your LASIK eye surgery's all gone to
He's gonna
shit.
file a lawsuit and be like, "You're the reason I threw 5 picks, motherfucker."
Yeah, yeah, but
Or
that's
4. Is it 4?
it was no, he actually didn't. I don't think he threw 5 picks
Or
in
he's
that game.
exaggerating there. I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't see the
I,
game.
I
To be
think
honest. I didn't see
I
it.
was mainly exaggerating. He did throw 5 touchdowns week one though, and
All I
that
have to do is just hear what happened though, and it's like, oh, that sounds about right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's the shocking thing too, because let me actually look up what it is here, just out of curiosity. How many picks did I'm sure he threw 2, so his
2.
ratio
Okay,
for the
that sounds
season is
about normal. Yeah.
5 touchdowns
And,
to 2 picks.
oh, all right, better than 30 for 30.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's off to a better start than that. So in his first season of taking over for the legendary Drew Brees. So the Saints are so far 1-1, and yeah, the Saints look like they were going to be real good week one. Week two, not so much. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward if they're for real or not. And of course, on the flip side of that, the Packers ended up looking way better in week two. And after struggling and getting benched for Jordan Love in week one, Aaron came out and threw what was it? Was it 4? It was 4 touchdown passes, I believe.
I think so.
He's on my fantasy team. I should know that, but ended up having a redemption game. Ended up like hanging like 30 points for me, so he had a great game in that standpoint. And also, like I said, got the Packers back on the winning track after really shocking loss week one to the Saints.
Yeah, that was really 38-3. I mean, like,
Yeah,
Jesus, man. Like, how does the league MVP, like
yeah.
38 to
It's
3?
it's it's
Like,
hard to say. I mean, he had 2 picks in that game, and I mean, he definitely struggled against the Saints defense. But then the Saints came out and kind of laid an egg in week two, and they got beat by the Panthers. So
Yeah.
It's a weird situation.
It's just,
We're
yeah, it's very weird.
trying to figure out, it's still early, so trying to figure out what teams are good. But definitely the Packers looked a lot more like normal, scoring 35 points and
Yeah,
putting up a ton of yards. It was definitely that LaFleur offense that they're known for. So
definitely.
I guess good for them to get back on the winning track. So I mean, because they're tied with the Bears now at 1-1 for the division lead,
Hmm.
as both Minnesota is 0-2 and Detroit as well as 0-2.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look back at our predictions from the past when we just
Yeah, it'll be
we picked
interesting.
our.
It'll be interesting to look at it maybe at like 4 weeks and see where we're at.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mean that early. I meant like way down the road. I just meant
Okay,
it'll be interesting to look. Maybe like 10 weeks in. Be interesting to look at, because that's a little more telling. I mean, it depends on the division and how the teams are doing, but
that's true.
4 weeks in, anything can happen between then and the end of the season. So as it gets later on, though, it'll be more interesting to see
Right.
just where how close we landed.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the first Redskins rundown of the 2021 NFL season. I'm sure we're all pumped about that. And the season didn't start out so great, but some good stuff the second week. We weren't around the first week, but just to recap, Fitzpatrick got hurt and we lost. That's basically like the key points from that game.
Yeah. Yeah, it was unfortunate to see him go down, but I mean, it does give a new opportunity to Taylor, so
Yes,
that's been
yes.
exciting.
Which I think, I mean, there are some Taylor haters. There's a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, he sucks, but from my experience, like people I know around here at the bar that watch the game, everyone when Fitzpatrick got hurt, we were all like, oh man, but the excitement level went up, and it's like I almost felt bad because like we
Yeah,
were so excited about it, but like Fitzpatrick just got hurt, and it's like you don't ever want to see that, and
sure.
Fitzpatrick's a great guy, it's like, and you hate to see it, but God, like I can't lie, like the excitement, everyone's chanting Heineke, like all pumped up.
Oh wow,
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I think I have a video of it. It's crazy. But
Okay.
yeah, so the first game of the season, unfortunately we lost. But the second game was a lot better. It didn't start out great. Taylor did come out with 2 3-and-outs, and it felt familiar, like with the last season, last few seasons. We're always just a slow start. It seems like we come out and just nothing happens, and that's pretty much what happened. But after that, the defense unfortunately gives up a touchdown on the first Giants drive. So they went 3-and-out, Giants scored, then we went 3-and-out again. But we did stop the Giants, and then after Taylor got the ball back again, he finally hit Diami Brown for an awesome 22-yard catch.
Yeah, I
First of the
remember that.
game.
That was nice.
Yeah, he like it. I mean, Taylor throws the ball a little high. Like I'm not gonna lie, but like the playmakers that we have make it work, and it also can prevent interceptions depending on where the defenders are. And just Diami just jumps up and you just leaps for it, and it's like
I feel you there. I mean, as you know, Jimmy's been known to throw a high ball too. So yeah,
yeah.
sometimes it's just the risk
But
reward.
like you said before, you take a high ball over a low ball most of the time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean, unless you're like laying the receiver out, obviously, that's a bad situation. If you go high across the middle, that's usually not good because a lot of times you're putting your receiver out
right,
and really hanging him out to dry. But if you go high, usually over the sideline, sometimes that prevents an interception.
right. So after that, the start of the half, Heineke did pull a nice, successful QB sneak on 4th down. That was nice to see. I mean, I know a QB sneak's not anything super special, but when they work, it's exciting. 4th down, they pull it and they make it. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
well, at least he knows how to do that. It's like to see him just do more things at the quarterback. Like awesome.
So the quarterback sneak is like something that it's actually there's more to it than you would think. It requires the offensive line to really get good push and like the quarterback's really got to get low and get wedged in there. So that's why like I mean, obviously there's several quarterbacks that are good at it, but that's why
Mm-hmm.
like Tom Brady effectively, and like Jimmy's really effective at like the quarterback sneak as well. Some
Yeah.
like Peyton Manning was a great
That's
quarterback.
because Jimmy learned from Tom Brady, but
That's probably true. I mean, if that's the one thing he taught him, then that was a good thing to teach him. He used it like 3 times Sunday.
I feel like he taught him how to throw that pretty football too. I mean, Tom Brady throws a pretty football too, so.
I mean, I'll take whatever the man can teach him. I mean, whatever he could have absorbed from Tom by osmosis is always good. But yeah, I mean, we're
Right.
Taylor's looking good. I mean, he's exciting. That game was exciting that I
Yeah,
watched.
dude. And McLaurin had a fantastic
did.
game. Like,
He did.
oh my god! I mean, we already knew Scary Terry was a fucking beast, but oh my god, that game just some of the catches he made, just
Yeah.
oh god, like I mean, Taylor hits him for a touchdown to tie the game up, and it's
Yeah.
like he's easily his favorite target. Like
Yeah.
he just keeps going back to him. And
Well,
Taylor,
he's a good one. I mean, he should have been
yeah,
everybody's
dude.
favorite target that was
Oh,
out there.
he's just. I'm so happy to have that in.
Yeah.
He's just amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, you always want the stats. So here's the stat for you. Terry was the first Washington wide receiver since 2014, when former Redskin and 49er Pierre Garcon did it. But he's the first receiver since 2014 to have 10 or more catches and 100 or more yards in the same game. There's a stat for you. Yeah, 2014. Awesome. So it's been 7 years.
I'm surprised it was Pierre Garcon, but I mean,
Pierre Garcon was a phenomenal possession receiver. People don't like to give Pierre a lot of credit, but Pierre he's a great blocker for us in the Kyle Shanahan.
He was good. He was good, but I think he might have been better with you guys than the Redskins. I don't know.
Absolutely not. I mean, he had great seasons with you guys. He had some 1,000-yard seasons with you guys. He was with us for 2 years, but he got hurt both years, and it was at the late part of his career. We got him at the tail end, unfortunately.
Oh, that's always bad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Players age.
So the defense, I mean, they recorded, it was 4 sacks, right? Yeah. Jonathan Allen had a sack, or was it 2 sacks?
John Allen had two sacks.
2 sacks. Kendall Fuller had 1.
Yep.
And then Montez Sweat had 1, right?
Yep. Kendall Fuller coming on the corner blitz.
Yeah, that was a nice one. I enjoyed that one, definitely, seeing that. I was like, yeah, always nice to see the defensive backfield get in on a
absolutely. A
I
lot of times because the quarterback doesn't expect it.
Exactly. Yeah, dude.
Like, oh shit.
That fast motherfucker's coming in. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Where'd he come from?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I love it when we send like K'Wan Williams on like the nickel blitz, like or something. He's picked up a couple sacks the last couple seasons for us, but yeah, the nickel blitz is or just sending the corner in general, or even when you send a safety, just sending that extra rusher and somebody with that speed is obviously it worked against Daniel Jones.
Yeah, speaking to Daniel Jones, one of the highlights, I guess, I have to mention, he ran for an extremely long touchdown run. I'm not entirely sure what the yardage was. It was at least 50, 60 plus yards. But it gets called back to the 11 because of a holding call, I believe. So they don't get the touchdown from it, which was great for us. But yeah, that was disappointing to say the least. Like, just that he did get into the end zone. Like, thankfully there was that penalty, but. Yeah. Daniel Jones, man, he's fast.
He's like that scary fast that you really don't realize how fast he is until it's like too late.
Yeah, dude, like,
how it is.
Man,
like,
you just don't expect it.
You don't realize how quick Daniel Jones is until he's running past you, and it's like, and that's not a good situation. But yeah, I mean, this is hardly the first time he's done this, but he's certainly dynamic.
And I believe they kicked the field goal after that.
I think they did, yeah, because
they did not get into the touchdown. And then after that, Taylor, worked his way down the field, hitting McLaurin a bunch of times. McLaurin was his favorite target all game. But then when they got to the end zone, McKissick runs it in for a nice touchdown up the middle, which was nice to see.
Yeah, always nice to see. And JD had some nice catches on the day too. It's always good to see him get involved.
Yeah, he actually, I mean, I was going to mention it later. It was a little later in the game, but yeah, he had a huge catch. It was for 56 yards.
Oh,
It
I
was a nice
remember
pass
that.
from
Yeah.
Heineke.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, I didn't expect that. Like McKissick, I was like, damn, man. Like, but yeah, that was probably one of the plays. I mean, other than McLaurin's amazing catches,
Yeah.
that 56-yard, that was the longest play of the game at
Well,
that point.
that's what McKissick. That's his role. You know, like you've got usually like a running back that does certain things, and sure they can all do a little bit of everything, but usually what McKissick is there is he's like more used for he's gonna have way more receptions than carries in the season because that's
Yeah,
more
well,
what
I
he's
was
there
happy
for.
to see that. That was great. Yeah, and the Washington defense did have 5 penalties that they caused. I remember Chase Young had a really bad roughing the passer call. Like it
I remember
watching
that
it, like
there were some
Dave Jones
untimely
goes to, it's
penalties.
like the ball's like here, and then Chase hits him,
Yeah.
and because Chase lands on him, and you see him trying to pick up,
Yeah.
it's like, man, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
15 yards, a personal. I was just, that really irritated me.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
man,
wasn't it like on a third down or like it was on a
yeah,
second
it was
or
a
yeah.
big deal. Like, I mean, it mattered.
Gave
Like,
him a
God, that
fresh
pissed
set
me
of
off
downs.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, there were a lot of
Yeah. So
situations
that was
that kept the
unfortunate.
Giants in the game that really shouldn't have, with the penalties specifically.
Well, you know what though? To be fair, I hate to say it, but to be fair, the same thing happened with us. I mean,
Yeah,
Saquon,
that's true.
or was
There were a lot of
was
penalties
it Saquon?
overall.
Who dropped the pass in the end zone when the defense, just the coverage fell apart and somebody was in the end zone and the ball hit the hands and it dropped out. They almost had a touchdown.
Steve Slayton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if he had caught that, then
It wasn't.
So
it wasn't my fantasy pickup. Fucking Kenny Galladay. That's all I know. He had a fucking shit game, 6-point ass game.
What's crazy is after getting like 127 points with Terry's crazy game and Tom Brady, I still lost by 0.16 points. Like, fuck fantasy, man.
Live and die by the sword. Can't regret taking.
Yeah, so yeah, speaking of some like being lucky, I guess, like since they dropped that touchdown pass, we should have lost that game. I hate to say it. I know a lot of people don't want to admit that. Like, oh, don't say shit like that. If they didn't go offside, Hopkins missed that kick. And if you watched his second kick from 5 yards closer, it was the exact same kick. It was just 5 yards closer, and it happened to make it. That's literally what it was.
5 yards will make the difference.
When
the kick starts to curve, when the kick starts to curve, and I know this from experience.
You saw the kick. Like, it was, he barely made it.
Sometimes like the ball will just like tuck right out right behind the upright, and you just barely make it by like that much. It's like sometimes it's all the clearance you get, and I mean, yeah, he struggled obviously a little bit in the preseason, and that was a big deal. Everybody was talking about it, and I mean, he obviously made it with the redemption. But
to be fair to him though, he did make a 49-yarder to make it 2017, and then he also hit a 39-yarder. So he did actually make some kicks, but the Giants kicker just nailed every single kick he made. He went for it. But I didn't mean to jump forward to that. I did want to cover Ricky Seals-Jones. Very, is a lesser known player. He made a fucking
I know who Ricky Seals-Jones is. Ricky Seals-Jones coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs, and then before that, the Cleveland Browns. I know. I've known Ricky Seals-Jones for some time. The NFL
and that made it 26-27 after
Ricky
he made that.
Is. Yeah, he sure did. That was a great catch.
That was the only other thing I forgot to mention. I wanted to mention before the kicking thing is God, that the pass was good, the catch was good. He just went like behind him, and man, that was a good
phenomenal.
Catch. So.
That was phenomenal.
But yeah, I hate to say it, but we really only won that game because they went offside. Otherwise, we missed the kick and we lost. I know when people don't want to talk or admit things like that, it's like, man, that's just the reality. Like, it sucks and all, but like, I'm not saying I'm happy as fuck we won and I'm gonna take the win. Don't get me wrong, but you got to accept reality. It's like we should have lost. Like we, really, really close. So it's like, I don't know. Some fans are just so delusional. It's like, oh, you can't say anything good about the other team or anything bad about your team. It's like, no, I just accept reality and see the game as it was.
Sometimes the other team fucking kicks your ass a little bit in the trenches.
Right. Sometimes they do. Sometimes the Cowboys fucking beat you into the ground and you want to kill yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, like the
obviously joking.
Yeah. No. I know. But the amount of I don't know. I would say like the amount of yards, like you guys would definitely want to figure out the yardage thing, and I guess even like the point thing. The defense at points played pretty well, but they gave up what 29 points to the Giants, so hoping
Mm.
that obviously that gets
Yeah,
figured out.
that needs to improve. Like, I mean, ugh.
Jack Del
Like
Rio's
one
a
thing
good
with
coach though.
yeah, one thing is I've heard. I mean, I think I've read something about Ron thinking that Chase Young is putting too much pressure on himself, trying to go too hard. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but
I don't think you did.
yeah, it just seems like he's trying to maybe do too much instead of just focusing on like what he needs to do, like trying to just make big plays, run across the
He's
field, do this and that.
just pressing a bit.
I mean, he is a physical fucking monster. I mean, he kept up with Saquon Barkley,
Yeah,
like almost stride for stride, and he's
it
he's
did.
6'4", 265. I don't know what Saquon is, but I know he's way smaller than that. At least significantly by 30, 40 pounds.
Yeah,
But yeah, seeing Chase, God, imagine him chasing after you like that, like,
yeah, it's pretty
oof,
scary. Ugh,
frightening.
ugh.
But the one thing that I will say, the
He's way
best part
faster
of
than
it,
me. I know that.
yeah, obviously, and me, Jesus Christ.
Uh,
But the best thing I'll say, I mean,
small
it was
down.
a bit of a sketchy win, and it didn't feel like like a full win given the way it turned out. But a win's a win. But the best thing is that they were 4-0 against us. So and now they're not.
They're not.
That is the thing that I'm the most happy about. And Daniel Jones once again didn't fumble somehow. I don't know what it is. He fumbles all the time, but he just doesn't fumble against us. So whatever the fuck that's about, it's irritating.
I don't know.
But yeah, at least we after last year them sweeping us, awesome to see the win, regardless of how it came out. I don't really
Oh,
care.
absolutely. Yeah, especially in a division game where you know it's going to be usually gritty and just
Yeah, yeah,
physical and probably really close anyway. You're just happy to get it because
yep,
honestly, at the end of the season, that's what matters is like your record in the division. I mean, obviously your overall record matters too, but like that division record's really big. So,
it is, it is
and right now
very
Washington's 1-0
important.
in the division, so it's
Yep,
huge.
yep,
They're tied for first place.
definitely. It's early. It's early. I don't,
Oh, I know. Yeah, but
remember last season the way shit went.
I do, and at this point, they didn't have any wins, so already ahead of schedule.
That's true, I guess. But also the other teams look a lot better than they did last season. I mean, we do too, I guess. But like, also the quarterback thing is like a big mystery. If Heineke, I'm Team Heineke. I believe in Heineke. I'm all for it. But he might suck. I'm not going to deny that. Like it's possible he might
At
just
this
fall apart.
point, like I'm thinking, like he's getting to the point where like 2 or 3 more games, and we're gonna get to
And
the
and
point where
and
it's gonna be like,
yeah,
all right, well,
yeah,
I think we're starting to realize like it's not just because it's like you can get lucky like maybe 3 times, and that was what his third start. I was
yeah.
like, I'm willing
Oh,
to say you could,
speaking of third start,
yeah,
I know you said this didn't mean much,
yeah,
but he has like the most. Was it the most completed passes in
yeah,
his first 3 starts in the yeah of any like per any Q history
yeah.
apparently. Which yeah, I know it's yeah. You can
For the record, I didn't say it doesn't mean anything. I just said it doesn't mean as much as like wins. And then I referenced the fact that Nick Mullins in a 3 game span has more passing yards than any other 49ers quarterback. More than Steve Young, more than Joe Montana, more than Jeff Garcia, more than Colin Kaepernick, more than Jimmy Garoppolo, more
right,
than all
right.
those names.
Which I can see to
Nick
you that yes,
Mullins.
yeah, and I can see you're right. Like it doesn't necessarily mean
What
anything, but
what
it
what
is a
that what
nice
that what that
thing.
what that means to me is like what'd you say the stat was the most completed passes?
No, I actually don't remember what it was now. That's the thing. I wasn't sure. It was something like the most.
I think
It
I
was
think
something with
I
passing.
think that's what because you told me earlier, and I think you said it was the most
Okay.
completed passes. And honestly, that usually tells me a lot that they're playing from behind because that's usually when you have to throw the ball like 40, 50 times a game. And because what did he complete? He completed like 40 out of 50.
Well, what's weird, it was a 34 out of 46, I
Okay,
believe.
something like
And
that. Yeah, there's a lot of
yeah,
passes.
but the first game he only had like 140 something yards, and the second game he had over 300. He was like 336. So he's at like 400 and something, like almost like just below 500 for the season. But his first game he had almost nothing. But oh well, that's because Fitzpatrick got hurt partway through the game. I'm
Yeah,
an idiot.
yeah, like midway
Jesus Christ.
through the second quarter.
I just realized that.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
so that's why. But yeah. All right. Well, next week we have the Bills, so that's gonna be a challenge.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game.
Yeah,
Josh Allen has
and not
the
looking
scary
forward to
thing
that.
about Josh Allen is Josh Allen's one of those like scary NFL prodigies that's like gotten better each NFL season he's been out there,
You
which
know
is
what's interesting
terrifying.
though? If you look at Josh Allen and Taylor Heineke's stats from the last two games,
Yeah.
they ironically look very similar. And
Oh
I
yeah,
and
Josh
Taylor
Allen hasn't been playing that
and
great this
Taylor's
season.
are actually a little better,
Yeah.
which I know doesn't mean shit, but still,
No,
it's just crazy to look at that and be like,
yeah.
wow, like
Yeah, I mean technically Taylor is 1-0 on the season because
yeah, yes,
Fitz
he
Fitz
is.
start
Ooh,
Fitz
that makes
started the
me
first
excited.
game, so I mean Fitz is on the hook for the first game. It's like pitching in
Yep, yep.
baseball. If you s- if you start the game and you earn the deficit, which you know they were down when he was in there, then the loss is on
Yeah,
Fitz. I mean Heineke's 1-0 at this point, so
Heineke.
yeah, there you go, the enthusiasm. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, hoping that Washington pulls it out in a tough game against Buffalo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We will we'll be here to cover what happens regardless, win or lose, after that game. So tune in next week for the next Redskins rundown.
Thanks for joining us on this week's Niners news update. Big news coming out of this week is unfortunate news. Obviously, week one, we had a big injury to Raheem Mostert, who played all of 4 snaps in the win over the Lions. He had 2 carries for 20 yards and then went out for the game and will be out for the remainder of the season. He was replaced by Elijah Mitchell, who ended up having a great debut. Unfortunately, he also injured his shoulder in week two. And then Jermichael Hasty, who came in to replace him and had 5 carries for 38 yards, has also gone down now with a high ankle sprain and expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. That brought in the debut of Trey Sermon, our rookie 3rd-round pick. He proceeded to make 1 carry for 8 yards and was tackled, and his head made contact with the turf. And he is in concussion protocol. So he possibly might be cleared, but he could also miss the game as well. As a corresponding move, the 49ers might move up Kerryon Johnson, big free agent back who we talked about a couple weeks ago being cut from the Eagles. He was signed to our practice squad. Kyle Shanahan said that he might be activated this week, and on the main roster, because right now the only active running backs we have are Trenton Cannon, who we just picked up, and he just played in last week's game a couple snaps. We got him from Baltimore's practice squad. And we also have Kerryon Johnson and possibly Elijah Mitchell if he's able to play. But that's a big if at that point. So definitely thin at running back. The 49ers have also brought in a couple of free agents as well. We've brought in former Washington and Miami Dolphin and also Houston Texan Lamar Miller. We've brought in Duke Johnson for a workout and TJ Yeldon. So whether we sign any of those players yet remains to be seen, but they did bring all of them in to potentially bolster the depth at running back because we're definitely thin at that position. And obviously,
Yeah.
we're still waiting for Jeff Wilson to get back because he's on the PUP list, and I think he's expected to miss like the first 4 to 6 weeks. So eventually, we're going to get, even though we won't get Raheem back, we're going to get Jeff Wilson, who's a starting caliber back as well at some point in the season. So we definitely have that. So we just need to weather the storm until then.
Yeah, it's not surprising that they went and are looking to sign other people just given what happened. What is that, 4 running backs
Yeah,
that
yeah,
basically got injured? I mean, that's ridiculous.
yeah. I
So
mean, and we've had injury issues obviously going back to the last couple seasons, and
yeah,
this is just ridiculous, especially at
yeah,
the running
seriously.
back position. It's just I mean, the running backs have to run hard in the offense, but I mean, like it's literally like, I mean, TJ or Trey Sermon was in there for 1 carry, and I mean he just had like bad luck. Like the way he got hit, his head just like made contact
Yeah,
with the turf. I mean, the guy got ruled out. The NFL has concussion protocols. Just
right.
unfortunate luck. And I mean that's So that's part of it. I mean, running backs obviously been a big issue. We've had a lot of injuries. Also, after week one, after making a phenomenal pick six on Jared Goff, Dre Greenlaw went on IR, which I don't think he's expected to miss that much time. Obviously, with the injured reserve rules this season, player only has to miss a minimum or maximum of 3 weeks, and then they can return, and then you can return an unlimited number of players this year. So hopefully we
Yeah,
get
that
Drake
is cool.
Greenlaw back. Yeah, that's I really like that rule. It's continued over from last year with the COVID rules. Fortunately, at linebacker, we still have Fred Warner and Aziz Al Shire and Demetrius Flanagan Fowles are also pretty good linebackers. So we have some decent linebacker depth as well. So hopefully that won't be as big of a hit. We're definitely not hurting as big there as we are at halfback. And obviously we had Jason Verrett, our top corner, go down with a big injury towards ACL week one. We talked about that a little earlier. And Emmanuel Mosley, who's our other starting corner that would be out there, missed the first 2 weeks with a lingering knee injury, but Kyle thinks he might be able to play this week.
That would be good.
Yeah, we definitely need the help because corner right now I'd say we're thinnest at corner and running back for sure. But one
Yeah,
area where we haven't been hurting so far is wide receiver.
wide
Where,
receiver.
yeah, where Debo leads the NFL in receiving yards through 2 games with 15 catches for 282 yards.
Which
And,
is awesome.
yeah, I mean he's basically averaging. I mean that's over
It's like
almost 100.
141
Yeah,
yards.
yeah, exactly 141 yards a game, and I mean he is just making guys miss and really just showing exactly what he can be. And that's been good
Hmm.
because obviously Jalen Hurd, of course, starting the season out on IR again. And through 2 games, Ayuk has had he's been targeted just one time, and he has one catch through 2 games.
Yeah,
So
which is surprising, and yeah, I don't understand
Kyle said he's
why.
not. Kyle said he's not in the doghouse. A lot of people thought maybe he was getting the Dante Pettis treatment, but he's
Mhm,
out there. I mean, Dante Pettis, for a while he wasn't even getting on the field. It's I know Ayuk started the season. He had a little bit of a like a hamstring thing, but he's been
mhm,
playing through it. And I mean, you'd expect
mhm.
to see him get more involved. I mean, fortunately, we
Yeah,
haven't really. I mean, I wouldn't say I guess that we haven't needed him, but we've been able to win without him being involved. I'm only getting one catch for 6 yards, but yeah, we'll have to see what becomes of that because I mean he almost had 1,000 yards as a rookie last season. He was very dynamic and great.
yeah.
So we definitely need, and I mean, especially if we could get him and Debo going at the same time, imagine how good the offense can be, or could be.
Right. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just yeah. It's very surprising
because right
that
now it's all on Debo, and then the occasional passes to Kittle, and then
mhm,
sometimes we sprinkle in some Trent Sherfield and Mohamed
right.
Sanu. Yeah, but some guy that did make his debut, we're talking about whether Mosley will or not, but big ass Javon Kinlaw, one of my favorites, big number 99, big number big defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw. He finally made his debut, and fortunately, it was he made a huge play in blocking a Jake Elliott field goal, which was huge. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that's always a block
Yeah,
field goal is always
yeah,
just amazing to see. Like every time that happens, it's a huge thing. Like
yeah.
so, that's
And
fucking awesome.
Kinlaw's a big man. He got that big paw up there, so it was good to see him get that, get that arm up and get that block. And it was good to see him get on the field after he missed week one. So definitely happy to
Absolutely.
have him back because we have DJ Jones also out there, and then Eric Armstead plays a lot inside. So the defensive line's looking a lot better this year. Obviously, through 2 games, we've got 5 sacks. 3 of those have been from Nick Bosa. So after getting injured with his ACL being torn last year after 2 games and not having any sacks, he's already off to a great start this season with 3. So
Yeah, and that's definitely great to see.
yeah, and
Need that shit.
yeah, and D Ford's already given us more than D Ford, who only played in 1 game last year, has started both games this year. So he's already doubled the production of last season. So I just hope that he stays healthy. Because if that
Right.
defensive line can stay together, it's on pace to be, potentially close to as good as Washington's. Like it's right, maybe a little
I
bit.
mean, you know what? At this point, and with the way Washington's defense has played, I would say maybe better. But
I
I
don't know.
hope
I don't know. We'll see.
Washington's got a lot of hype and all, but
Washington's gonna figure it out. I mean, you've
I
got
feel
that
like
many.
that's what it is. I feel like it's gonna take a little time, and some people just gotta relax, do the jobs. Like they can't. But the hype going into it was like they're just gonna be so amazing, and like, I mean, that first game against the Chargers was.
I mean, they call it mid-season form because usually you get there at the middle of the season. Sometimes it
Right,
takes a
right,
while to
right.
get the timing right. So I mean, sometimes you're not really executing until that third or fourth game. You're just getting some wins by the skin of your teeth, and you need those wins. You need to at least start off like each part of the season. At least getting a couple wins, especially in that. Um, I mean, you need even more in the NFC West, but I mean, in the NFC
Yeah,
East, you need to at least probably go each quarter of the season at least 2-2. Probably even better this year though. But
yeah.
an interesting stat that I did see that I wanted to bring up: the last two times that the 49ers have started 2-0, they have been to the Super Bowl those years. The most recent being in 2019. So that was a stat that's really cool. Not saying it's going to happen, but that's certainly a cool
It
omen.
is interesting though.
It is interesting. Yeah. So and we're off to a great start. Obviously, we play the Packers on Sunday night. That is definitely going to be our toughest challenge, especially after seeing them. They're back to executing
Well,
how
that
they.
depends on which team you get. If you get week one at Packers, then you guys got to win. But if
I
it's
think
week
they
two
just came
Packers,
out.
then
I think they just came out flat week one. I think they're
you're
going to
probably
be
right.
fine.
You're probably
I
right.
think
Yeah.
it's like that old Aaron Rodgers, relax. Whole relax thing is. I don't think it's anything to worry about. I think that one game was an abnormality that they
Probably.
had. But I think they're going to give us a tough game. I mean, we do have a healthier roster than we did last year when we played them. So that'll be interesting to see. And
Yeah.
speaking of staying healthy, so far through two games, Jimmy has been staying healthy and playing great. In the most recent game, he went 22 out of 30 for 189 yards, one touchdown, no picks, and had a rushing touchdown. Um, he had one rushing touchdown as well. Uh, Actually converted a couple of third and I think fourth and ones with the quarterback sneak. I think they went for the quarterback sneak three times, and he got it
Nice.
all three times. Yeah, like
That's
he's like
awesome.
100%. So when we were talking about it earlier that he learned the quarterback sneak from Tom Brady, I think that's one of the best things that Jimmy does. And I don't know if you've noticed from the games, but I don't know if it's the drafting of Trey Lance, but Jimmy has been more mobile out there than I've ever seen him. I'm not saying he's Lamar Jackson or anything, but like you've seen him juke a couple guys, like on a scramble, like he made a guy miss. It's like he's definitely the ankle's at 100%. It's good to see him make.
Yeah,
I want
definitely.
him to be careful out there and not get hurt, but it's um it's interesting to see him like scramble around and make some plays with his feet as well, because obviously he can do a little bit of that when he needs to.
Yeah, seeing him get that rushing touchdown, that's always nice.
Yeah, yeah, you got that on a nice little quarterback sneak there. But yeah, I mean for the season, he's completed 70% of his passes. He's thrown two touchdowns, no interceptions. Obviously, could have had probably one more touchdown pass, but Trey Lance had a touchdown pass in there. So
Hmm.
he's and Trey didn't play at all week two. Interesting note at all. Trey did not get in the game at week two, so Kyle didn't use him. So maybe we'll see if he gets used against the Packers. But talking about Jimmy's numbers, two touchdowns. Jimmy through two games has played turnover-free football, and probably the most interesting thing, he's taken one sack. So that's also a tribute to the 49ers offensive line playing great. But that's always been
Hmm.
a knock on Jimmy, is he takes a lot of sacks, is he's not that mobile. He has been eluding pressure through the first two games of the season, and hopefully that can continue. But
Yeah,
he's
definitely.
playing like he's got a rookie on his tail. He's playing his ass off so far. I mean, he's got
Good.
503 passing yards through two games. So I mean, averaging over 250. So he's been getting it done, getting it done. And like I said, the defense played much better week two. We held the Eagles to just 11 points. They got a good amount of yards on us, but they didn't score a ton of points. And We got 2 more sacks, both of them coming from Bosa, which, like I said, brought his total up to 3 on the season. And yeah, it was good to see because the Eagles really played a great game week 1 against the Falcons. So it was going to be interesting. I mean, they scored 32 points week 1. And so to
Yeah.
hold them to 11 points, obviously they're a much better team, but that was definitely great to see us.
Very happy to see you hold them and beat them for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look way better than I expected, which is unfortunate.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I was watching that game and I was getting a little nervous because I was telling you all week that I was like, oh, I think we've got 2-0. And I never get too overconfident, like unless I'm really sure that we've got to win. And if we would have played last year's Eagles.
Yeah, right. But you didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
I know the ironic part of that statement is the Eagles beat us last year. I'm more saying if we played last year's Eagles with our healthy roster, yeah,
right,
we'd have probably kicked their ass.
But
yeah, Nick Mullins doomed us, but that's all right. But yeah, so we're going to be interested to see what happens. So we've got the Packers on Sunday night, so tune in as we talk about the game next week. That's going to be it for the Niners news update for the week. And that's actually going to be it for our show as well. So we just want to thank you guys for joining us and say good night, everybody. Until next week.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us on the Extra Point Show.